Alright, so this thing has sat around here for a couple of years now. I think I bought it in 2019 and I just basically rolled it in here and covered it up and just haven't touched it since. But I'm to the point where I'm ready to start another project. So I unearthed this thing, got the cover off of it. The cover's no good now. That's how long it's been out here. But I'm going to get it in the garage and start in on it. Oh, I hope the keys are in this. I don't remember seeing the keys in the key place. There's the keys stay. Well, I hope the door opens. Yeah. Nothing's in there. Yep, okay. Well, there's a key. That's all I need is a key. Oh, yeah, here's the trunk. Here's the trunk keys. That's the trunk lock, which may be destroyed, I'm not sure. Anyway, so, yeah. All right, let's get this thing pulled out of here and turned around and backed into the operating center. Okay. One of my next projects is replacing the spring rollers or the tent rollers on these door hinges so it gets away from that noise. This is how you move the car by yourself. I'm glad this car's new enough. It's got the door's not happy. It's got a locking steering column because it makes this stuff a lot easier. Because the other ones are so old, there's no lock. So you have to pretty much bungee cord the steering wheel where you want it to stay and hope it stays. Tell you what, if you like creaking doors, this is your day. Alright, let's get back here. Make sure not to yank it tight and you won't get the knot out of it. That toe strap's already got about 6 knots in it for some reason. Don't forget to look where you're going. All right. That's about where I need it. Take the slack out and just leave this sit here. I don't have to use it anymore, I don't believe. Maybe I can summon some of my flabby white guy strength enough to get it pushed in the garage. I'll try. Okay. Next clip will either be me with it in the garage or me hooking it to the truck and towing it. Okay, she's lined up, ready to go in. See if I can guide it on home here. And yes, I am fishing this car by myself. So I can set you in. Fine folks up here without a tripod. Oh, that doesn't look good, does it? Hang on. Don't give up hope quite yet. I think that's it. Yeah, okay. Whew. Phew. All right. Whew. Oh, I'm going to go have some soda pop to drink just to celebrate pushing this thing in. And I'll come back out in just a few and we'll do a little walk around of this, shall we? I'm back. Okay, so where do we begin with this? I'll tell you first of all what this is. This is a 1971 Plymouth Valiant Scamp. It has the name Valiant on it. It's actually on the fender over here. But I think it's not on this one, but trust me, that's where it went. It's on the other one over there. But I think that was done primarily just to associate this with a Valiant. You know, in 1971, the Plymouth Valiant four-door sedan was one of the most popular cars sold that year. And so I guess I figured that any association with that was a good thing, and I think it did work for them pretty good. I think about 1972 or 3, they dropped the Valiant part of that in the name. But anyway, so it's got a Plymouth Valiant front end on it. I've already seen it, but it looks just identical to a 70 through a 72 Valiant. But the car itself, the body shell from there rearward rather, is a Dodge Dart Swinger. It's built on a Dart Swinger and Dart sedan wheelbase, which means that the wheelbase distance between that wheel and that wheel is 111 inches. The Plymouth Valiants before 74 and the Dusters and the Demon and Dart Sport built on a 108-inch wheelbase. So anyway, it's got a, I don't know if that's the same rear end as it may be. We'll look at it a little bit later, but that's what it is. This is a slant six car. It's going to remain a slant six car, and I know it looks horrible, but this car is actually a very good candidate to restore or attempt to restore. I'm going to do it. I just don't know what the outcome is going to look like, whether it's going to look like a decent car, it's going to look like something I should get a professional to do. No, I'm going to do it until I do it the right way. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. It's a good candidate. It's mostly rust-free. The areas that normally rot out on these cars is not rotted on this one. It's got very good floors. The top is solid. It had a vinyl top on it. Normally I don't buy vinyl top cars, but this is what this one had. So it's all good. Looks like there, I don't know if that's just condensation. That's what it looks like in there on that rear. I don't want to have to take this window out if I don't have to. I will, but I don't really want to. But the glass is all good. Like I said, the top's not rotted or anything like that. It's not just got surface rust on it. And I think this windshield is good. I was under the impression that it had a crack in it someplace, and I'll look at it closer, but that's good if it doesn't, because that's a tinted windshield and they're not cheap. So it looks like the original paint on it. So hopefully no body work hiding underneath that. So you're probably going to wonder, you're going to ask me, what happened to it? Well, I found where this car, probably the original owners, where they lived, and I saw a street view picture of their place, and this thing was sitting, like their house was here, parallel to the street, and had a driveway going up, and then this car was pushed over to the right, and there was some kind of big pine tree or something kind of pretty close to it, and obviously something fell off the tree, or the tree fell, and it dented it in. It just looks like it just hit it right here, just wham, right into it. And over here, same deal. Now I see something, looks like this car may have been painted here. I may have spoke too soon, but something's kind of weird here. I see like a couple layers of paint here, so I don't know what's up with that. This thing may have been painted. You know, you just, as old as they are, you don't find many of them that have not been damaged. It's got a little buckle in the fender, so this fender is probably not usable. It's not worth trying to fix because they're pretty easy to fix. I mean, pretty easy to find, rather. So, hood looks good. It's stuck up because of valve alignment, but I'm not too often concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is this deal right here, because this thing took a pretty good hit, and I don't know if it's driven the cowl down a little bit. There's something going on here. It looks like it may have some Bondo in it. I may have spoken too soon, but that's okay. You know, it's better to know where your enemy is than to not know. So, looks good across there. Trim looks pretty good. The other side's better. This is, you know, it's pretty straight as far as I can tell. This stuff here, people wonder about this, and this is one of the killers of these tops. This is body filler, and that's from the factory, because when they build this car, the quarter panel is actually, it's seamed right along here, and this is a seam, and they used to put lead in there, but they couldn't afford to do lead anymore, I guess, so they just filled up with body filler and paint it and put the top over it and say sayonara. Good luck with that. And that's what rots them out. They get moisture in there, but that one looks okay so far. There's a little dent here in the top. I don't think these things have caulk on the vinyl top cars. The ones that don't have this filled up with like seam sealer looking stuff. But oh yeah, I don't know what they do. I don't see many of these that don't have a vinyl top, so I don't know if they actually do put lead, or they just fill them with body filler and paint them. I don't know. Hadn't seen that. So looking at it, I see the front bumper's kind of tweaked, and the front grill's got some pieces out of it. That's probably gonna be a deal where I just take and find another grill that's got those good pieces in it and just kind of redo it. That's kind of what you have to do right now, because otherwise a grill is like extremely expensive for these cars now, a good one. So you have to make one. It's got a piece of trim missing here. I think that may be on the dash right there. There's something there off of something. Quarters look good on it. Got a little bit starting here. And not bad though, but it's always worse than what you think it is. And that rear valance panel is just beat to heck. I mean, it's been hit so hard that it's actually yanked it away from the quarter panel there and over here, but that's probably, I don't know, it looks like that's all the valance that's doing that. This bumper is good back here, except it's got one little ding on it. The taillights both have some cracks in them. That's not too bad, but this one's a little worse. That could probably, I don't know, it might be fixable, but anyway, look underneath it. Like I said, the trunk looked good. 4 pans look good, and that's usually, you know, you've seen before, I've had to put 4 pans in one already. It's a shock to get one. I've had 2 now that have good floors in them. So, like I said, just got a lot of undercoating on it. I don't see any problems. Not even gonna touch this. You know, this is not gonna be any rotisserie restoration. Oh yeah, this trim's missing. I know what did that when that fender got shoved downward. It probably popped it off. It's gone. I tell you what, if you're wondering what the worst thing that can happen to an old car, it's a human being. Just from neglect and whatever. So yeah, it's got a lot of oops. It's got a lot of that in there. I notice when I put these whoops, sorry. When I put this, I'm still learning these flashlights. Put these tires on. These are the ones that came off that brown Plymouth. I noticed the front end had some wear in it, like the ball joints are worn out, but that's no big deal. I am concerned about this inner structure of this fender up here. I think we're going to be looking at some. I see something over there I do not like the looks of at all. And right there, that's a bend. It's a crease right there outward. And it wouldn't be a big deal, except it looks like it's popped some of the undercoating off. So, you know, it's funny because I'm not a professional by any means, but one thing I've learned about car bodies is that it's, especially the high strength steel, which I don't know that this car is going to be modern enough to have anything called high strength steel in it, but damage, the energy from a hit like this dissipates in kind of strange directions, and you just may think, well, all I got to fix is this fender and this door, and I'm all done with that. But it may have went somewhere else. So I'm not going to be too shocked if I get this fender and all this stuff off here and find that this structure, this body structure here in this corner is going to have something pretty major done to it. But that's what it is. So anyway, we'll look inside this thing. We've done this before. You may remember that we looked at it when I first got it. But I was looking at something here. I noticed this door, especially when I was trying to open it, and makes this hellacious noise up there in the hinges because the hinges are dry, which you really shouldn't spray anything on a car that you're eventually going to have to paint. But I can't stand that, so we'll see. But this door is hard to get open, and I noticed that it's kind of downward, and it's hard to get open. Pull it upwards, it opens better, easier, I guess. But it's got, Wes calls it Ford door, but it's more than just Fords that do this with these big heavy doors. Quit messing with me. You know, sometimes I hate inanimate objects. It's like they have a life of their own and an agenda. Anyway, these big heavy doors, you know, it's got some play in the door hinges, which is not surprising, but unfortunately, at some point, well, I think it took out the hinge pin area here because something's happened here. It looks like this has been welded. It's definitely been painted, but they're notorious for that because when this door starts to sag like that, it hits that thing, and when it hits it, instead of just going over it and latching, it just like bangs into it. And people, they're stupid, so they don't do anything about it, and so they just keep closing the door on it. And what happens eventually is they break the post out of it. So I don't know if the other one's like that or not. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Hey, have you guys ever noticed that Musty, first of all, have you ever noticed how many people use those cheap Harbor Freight flashlights? They work pretty good, but I see a lot of big money video makers that use those. If you ever watch Musty 1, you notice he's got several apparently because he numbers them. I've seen number 2 and number 4 being used recently. Oh, that's not good either. Ooh, yikes. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. Well, maybe you can see that, but see how You can't see anything because I'm not pointing the camera at it. You see how that's bent inward and down? It's cracked out. That's what you say, it's cracked out. You know you're a redneck if you put the word out after words that don't need the word out after them. But it's all cracked, and that's what happens. I don't want to look at that anymore. So, all right, so anyway, man, I just love these old Mopar smells in here. Oh, they all smell different from one another. But that's going to go away, unfortunately, because you start replacing the carpet and stuff. It affects that. So, anyway, got a nice, I wonder what that is. That's interesting. It's on both doors, too. Right there. I never noticed that before. It's like a rubber. It's like a rubber plug. Maybe I'll have to ask the oracles on the A-body forum what that is. So, it was like a bolt came loose there. So, it looks like these door panels, that one's usable. That one's possibly usable. You hope they are, because door panels, these things are extremely expensive. These are junk. See how the chrome's all peeled off and all that crap? It's because I use cheap metal for them. It's got a lot of impurities. Same here. You have to get new ones of these. New knobs. All the chrome in here is just weathered to death. Yeah, it's all rusty and everything. It's got a map light under there. The carpet's all rotted. Well, that's what it is, but yep. Yeah, that's all. It's got to be redone. I don't know what's going on here. This thing's got a replacement green thing there. Visor, and the other visor is here, fortunately. But somehow or another it's been snapped off. Yeah, we looked through all this, I think. So, yeah, so anyways, it's the usual stuff. Oh, it's cracked over there, I see. It's a pretty color combination. I like this blue a whole lot. Tired of brown. Yeah, that door panel is off at the bottom down there, as you can see that, but it's kind of shoved downwards. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know, but well, I never had one of these, so I don't know. That floor over there, I don't know about that. Well, it's all right. We'll fix it, whatever it is. So, all right, guys, I'm not going to do a real long just picking through this thing, but I'll do a video of cleaning this thing out, for sure. Yeah, this windshield's good. Can you believe that? That means I'm not taking it out, which means I'll have to paint this dash, repaint this dash in situ, if that's the word, which means in place. I'll do it. If it means not having to take a flash, I was looking at this thing, a windshield out, I'm all for it. All right, so let's go outside, and I'm going to give some final remarks here about this. So anyway, okay, so what's the goal for this thing? Well, I'll tell you what the goal is not going to be. The goal is not to take this thing apart with it's into a pile of parts here and then just forget about it. Now, we all know that I work slow. I have a full-time day job and other things that I do besides this stuff. So I'm slow. So I'm going to set a reasonable goal, and that's the thing to do about stuff like this. People are so guilty of not, the guy that I sold that daggum, let me restart this. Okay, sorry about that. I'm on the cord here. This is probably going to be the last video I use this camera to make because the battery, this is one of these old Samsung Galaxy phones, and the battery is just, it's gone. So it will not run very long on its own without being tied into the electric, and that's kind of limits the purpose of a handheld camera or whatever you want to call it. But so anyway, I was starting to say about my buddy that took the Catalina and took it all apart and I guess destroyed it. I don't know. I never saw it again. He envisioned himself as a car restorer, like Chip Foose or anybody else that was on TV at that time, and even though he never done it. And he told me one time, he said, "You won't know this car in a month," and sure enough, I didn't. And I feel bad forever. I don't like to suspend friendships, but I probably would have considered it in that case just to keep that car away from him if I'd known that was the case. I could be totally wrong. That car could be fully restored now, but I haven't seen any evidence that it even exists anymore. So, and that's the thing about projects that you got to keep in mind is that if you take them apart, you got to put something back together again at some point. I've got a subscription. He's a very nice guy, real nice guy, but he he loves taking things apart. Loves it. Loves taking things apart. And I think when he runs out of stuff to take apart, he goes and buys some more stuff to take apart. But I'm kind of teasing him, but that's it. There's people overestimate or underestimate what it takes to do something like this. That's why I'm keeping my whole idea for this thing is very simplified. This is the end of March, and I want to get it prepped for paint by the end of September or so, when it starts cooling off, when the bugs go away. And this gives me roughly 6 months to get this done, and that's all I plan to do on it. All the rest of it, all the detail stuff, I can do later over the winter and get it put back together because, like I said, I work slow, and it'll take every bit of that time, I guarantee you, because I have to do what you've seen. I have to straighten out the worst of the damage there, which is replace that fender and do something about this. I haven't decided what yet, but of course, among stripping it down and all that stuff. So I'm not, I actually don't really like taking stuff apart, but anyway, that's what we're gonna do on this thing and get it back to the basics of where we can start putting it back together. So, but anyway, yeah, I actually made another part of this video. I had to come back and do this part because I made part of this and it was upside down. So I'm not sure what I said in there. I went ahead and deleted it. I don't know how a video gets taken upside down. I really don't, but it did. Anyway, yeah, so just want to wrap this little part of this up. I think on the next one we're going to get out here and, excuse me, we're going to get out here and start cleaning out the interior and the trunk and everything and see if we find any parts that we can use. I know there's a few things in there. There's a fan shroud, which I hope is in one piece, is in there, and an air cleaner, and I don't know what else, but that carpet's all, as somebody on YouTube likes to say, it's ruined. There's a lot of stuff in there is ruined. So I'm not going to worry about the interior right now because the interior is easy. We'll do that at a later date. Right now it's just metal work. And it's going to be boring. And that's the thing maybe why a lot of people don't put things back together, because it's boring. A lot of work. It's more work than I thought it would be. And there's many, many other things that are more fun and more readily accessible to do and all that. But hey, somebody's got to do it. It's going to be done. So I want this to be me. All right, guys. Well, I gotta get off this camera, man. This is messing up my process here. So let me go get this put up for you guys, and see you on the next one. Take care.